Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
A very good evening to you and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nenna Nyama. In our major stories tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari reinstates his commitment on the improvements in national security. Also in this program, the Senate is to adopt two modalities for the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees. And Super Eagles goalkeeper Vincent Inyema dumps national team. Outside Nigeria, Russia has fired cruise missiles at targets in Syria in a major display of military power. Thank you so very much for joining me tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari has reinstated the significance and improvement in national security, which remains the topmost priority of his administration, because other socio-economic initiatives cannot be successfully implemented without adequate security in the country. Speaking at an audience with Britain's Chief of Defence Staff, General Sir Nicholas Hilton, President Buhari reaffirmed his administration's determination to end the Boko Haram insurgency as quickly as possible. The president said that Nigeria appreciates Britain's support for the retraining of its armed forces and asked for more assistance in other areas such as logistics, equipment and intelligence. President Buhari also called for more international support for regional efforts to improve security in the Gulf of Guinea, through which crude oil stolen from Nigeria is shipped. The Senate is to adopt two modalities for the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees. It says provisions of the 1999 Constitution, especially Section 147, subsection 1 and Section 120 of the Senate Standing Rules, will be fundamental in the process slated for next week.
Just before the senators settled down for the business of the day, Senate leader Ali Ndume raised a motion for an executive session. The closed-door session lasted for almost 2 hours before regular activities commenced, without any reference to what was discussed. It was not until the end of plenary before the purpose and outcome of the session was revealed. According to the spokesman of the Senate, Dino Melaye, it was a necessary step towards developing a procedure for the screening of ministerial nominees next week. To this end, relevant sections of the 1999 Constitution and extant rules of the Senate will be adopted.
Section 14.3 is going to be another very fundamental instrument in the screening of ministers by the grace of God to be as from Tuesday. We are also going to consider Section 65 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 65 of the Constitution is clear. It says, subject to the provision of Section 66 of this Constitution, a person shall be qualified for election as member of, because what the Constitution is saying is that anyone who must be a member of, or rather a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must first qualify to be a member of the House of Representatives, meaning all conditions and conditionalities that empower you to run for the office of member of the House of Representatives must be fulfilled before you can become a minister of the Federal Republic.
He also brought up other issues to be considered at the confirmation hearing.
The Federal Republic of Nigeria shall be our ultimate interest, and we are going to do all this in public interest. So we have received a number of petitions, and those petitions are going to be looked into, and it will also guide us. The veracity of those petitions will also guide our proceedings during the screening exercise.
The screening and confirmation of 21 ministerial nominees is scheduled to begin on Tuesday, October 13. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Still on that, Senate President Bukola Saraki has directed the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to treat all petitions against ministerial nominees before Tuesday, October 13. This was after the Senate formally received a petition from some groups in Kaduna against the nomination of a special advisor to the UN Secretary General, Amina Ibrahim, for a cabinet position. The petition, which is the second received in as many days, was delivered by Senator Danjuma Allah, representing Kaduna South.
The petition is against who?
The nominee of Kaduna State.
Against who?
Against Amina Mohammed. It is indicated through the complainants.
Okay. Yeah, just come out late. There's no judicial remedy being sought, is there?
No.
Okay.
Reactions and counter-reactions have played out from Nigerians across the board over the ministerial nominee list ruled out by the Senate President on Tuesday, when it resumed plenary in October, having received the list from the President on September 30. For some Nigerians, it was not only about regional, age and gender balance. It was more about the integrity record of the nominees. Prominent among them is the former governor of Lagos State and Rivers State Governor Babatunde Fashola and Rotimi Amechi, who have recently been alleged of corrupt practices. But for Olukayode Salako and Bomi Ajayi, the issue plays out differently to them.
If the PDP have positioned themselves to be attacking all the APC nominees and all of that, it is normal. But I want to assure you that the Senate will clear all those ministerial nominees, because right now they are the best for Nigeria. Buhari knows what he's doing. He can't just put anybody there. The people he has put there are the architects of the change revolution movement in Nigeria. These are the people who have the master plan of what Buhari wants to do in this government.
If you look at another 15, it's quite a lot. I have just 21, another 15 is quite a lot. And those 15 can make a difference to the structural arrangement and things like that people are raising, youth, women. Those 15 can be used to deal with those issues. So I would rather, at this stage, wait, get my the complete list, then I will.
Away from that, the House of Representatives is set to revisit the controversial $470 million surveillance camera contract for Abuja and Lagos. This, according to the lawmakers, is against the backdrop of the recent multiple bomb attacks in two satellite towns on the outskirts of the Federal Capital Territory. Two House members raised a joint motion on the matter.
Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, it is very sad and painful. When you go along the street, you will see some level of installation. These installations are till date not working. I believe that as a house, in the interest of this great nation, we must go the extra mile. Find out the terms and conditions of those particular contracts that we sign with these companies, because we cannot keep paying out for something that we have not had value for. It is extremely important that we believe, or rather create the opportunity to deal with these people. Because at the end of the day, those loans itself that we took were repatriated back to China. I find it so unacceptable, and I appeal to my colleagues that please, this level of some kind of imperialism or economic exploitation, we must find a final solution to. If we have to pay for something, definitely we should get the value. If we are not going to get value, then there is no need to pay. So I believe that the time and hour has come for us to look at the terms and terms of those loans that we have taken, so that we can address this issue once and for all. It's teaching time saves 9. The era of exploitation has come and gone. We will never allow this anymore.
So I would also lend my voice to say that this is one motion, this is one issue that we must look at very critically. But in looking at it critically, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also think that we need to look at most of the other agreements that were signed and to ensure and reactivate that any bilateral agreement or treaty that is signed on behalf of this country shall not have the full effect until it has been brought before Parliament and Parliament has had its input.
Still talking insecurity, Speaker of the House of ECOWAS Parliament, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, has reassured international community of the commitment of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led government to stamp out terrorism and insurgency from Nigeria. He said the sub-regional body is also alive to the responsibility of stemming the tide of terror in West Africa. Senator Ekweremadu gave the assurance at the 2-day high-level seminar on peace, security and sustainable development organized by the Association of European Parliamentarians with Africa in Brussels, Belgium. Fielding questions as a panelist on the sub-theme, the consequences of violent extremism and terrorism, he said the Buhari administration had built on the efforts of the previous government and shown the will to end the twin evils of insurgency and terrorism. He also assured the international community of the president and the military's commitment to rid the country of insurgency on or before December. The ECOWAS speaker added that Nigeria is looking forward to a Marshall Plan to rebuild the northeast region and other affected parts of the country after putting an end to Boko Haram. Kogi State Governor Idris Wada is banking on a level playing field by the federal government and President Muhammadu Buhari ahead of the governorship election slated for November 21. Wada is contesting on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) against former Governor Abubakar Audu of the All Progressive Congress, but is convinced of victory. He told our State House correspondents after meeting with President Buhari that he is sure that the election would be free and fair.
Very tumultuous turnout of our supporters and members of our party when I launched my senatorial campaign at the Eastern Senatorial Zone of Kogi State at Ayingba. A very successful rally and turnout of our people. So in terms of preparation, we are preparing very hard, and I'm working with the security agencies to ensure that there's a secure and safe environment for our people in the course of the campaign and during the elections. Any miscreants will be dealt with during the course of the election. People should be given a free opportunity to express their will, and I believe that on the basis of the record of the performance I have laid down over the last 3 years.
We'll take a break now, return with more stories. Just stay with us.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say. I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it is time to forgive me.
Political Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News, a top reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari reinstated his commitment and the improvement in national security. Also in this program, the Senate is to adopt two modalities for the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees. And in sports, Super Eagles goalkeeper Vincent Nyama damns national team. For more of our news stories, join us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. On our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV Liverspace News. The Cross River State government has exempted the poor from paying taxes in the state. It is also preparing grounds to provide them with free housing with a view to giving them a better life. Governor Benedict Ayade disclosed this to State House correspondents after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. He added that despite the current environmental challenges in the state, he is committed to improving the lives of the citizens.
For the level of poverty in this country, I think true government must originate from the bottom up. True transformation must be that kind of transformation that those people who live under bridges, treetops, in very desolate situations, in subhuman conditions, that you have provided a new platform for them to have the dignity of humanity. That is only then you can call yourself government, and that is when you have brought transformation to government. And that's why I signed in Cross River State to provide houses for the poor at no cost. It is also the same me who signed into law a bill that I originated to exempt the poor people from tax. Because for any government that taxes our people to prosperity, you have failed to exploit the alternative potentials that we've got as a state. And therefore, the idea of taking a market woman, a small keke napep driver, and putting pressure on them to pay tax, you take all of that tax to government. Government already has her own chunk of money, and then you exploit the poor. But don't forget that any government that taxes our people also has a responsibility within the context of social harmony to also provide for them.
Moving on now to Lagos State, the high population in the state appears not to be the only distinguishing factor, but a constant situation of traffic gridlock, which have left many residents disgruntled. While previous administrations have tried different means of ending the menace, the problem remains unabated. With the new government of Akim Omiambode, residents in Lagos observe that evaluation in the powers of LASMA officials in Lagos has turned the situation from bad to worse as commercial motorists flout traffic rules with impunity, compounding the problems of vehicular movement. But with town planning experts Bumi Ajayi, past governors failed to deal with the problem from its root, while calling on the new administration to re-strategize from old solutions and help reduce the burden of residents over traffic gridlock.
For more than 30 years, or even 40 years, Lagos has got transportation planning wrong. I remember when I was in the Federal Civil Service, there was a Lagos Metropolitan Transport Master Plan. And I told my comments on that master plan was, go and reduce the need for movement. Don't think you can ever accommodate all movement. But unfortunately, the Lagos State government at various stages have been made themselves believe that they can accommodate all movements, and it has never been done anywhere in the world. So all over the world now, what they're doing planning-wise is that they're now having medium density development. They're now allowing mixed uses, so that you will not need to travel, you know. So until we get our bearing right and plan in the proper way, it's going to be like that. Furthermore, the Lagos State government He's not even making, has not consciously arranged for parking. That is where people can park. And therefore people park regularly on the high road, therefore creating traffic at the back. So I think we just have to get back, then look at it. How long did it take Lagos State government before they now know that they need water transport? Jakande started it. After he left, the thing died. Whilst if right from day one, water transport has been given a priority, the problem will be less.
Still on Lagos State, the Governor Akinwumi Ambode has initiated moves to fulfill one of his campaign promises to illuminate all nooks and crannies of communities and adjoining boundaries in the state before the end of the year. This was made known today at a joint press briefing by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Public Works Corporation and Lagos State Electricity Board as a follow-up to the promise of Governor Ambode during the maiden town hall meeting held at Ayobo, Ikpaja last Tuesday. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, has commended the management of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency for its efforts in combating piracy and other criminal activities on Nigeria's waterways. General Buratai said this when the Acting Director General of NIMASA, Haruna Baba Juro, paid a working visit to the Army headquarters, also assured NIMASA of the cooperation of the Army in curbing criminal activities, especially in the creeks where barges and other watercraft are used to commit crimes like crude oil theft and piracy. The Army Chief also used the opportunity to appeal to the management of NIMASA and other corporate organizations to assist with the resettlement of the internally displaced persons through the corporate social responsibility programs, in order to have them probably reintegrated into the society. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) opposed bids by Mahmood Tukur and 4 other defendants standing trial in a 1.5 billion naira subsidy scam to quash charges preferred against them. The other defendants are Ochonogo Alex, Abdullahi Alao, and their companies Eternal PLC and Axe Energy. They stand in trial before Justice Lateef Lawal Akakpo of a Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja. At the resumed hearing of the matter on Wednesday, EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs prayed the court not to entertain the submissions of the defense team led by Olaniro Obehe to quash the charges against the accused persons. Tuku's counsel Obehe, alongside Ebun Adegoruwa and Aderemi Oguntoye, counsels to Ochonogo and Alao respectively, prayed the court to quash the charges against their clients. Adegoruwa had argued that the charges be quashed, alternatively strike out Ochonogo's name from the charge. Creativity and an understanding of universal and timeless artworks are qualities hardly given the right attention in most developing countries, even though developed countries make a fortune from promoting art. In Nigeria, the National Museum located in Lagos was created to showcase collections of art, statues, carvings and monuments, archaeological and ethnographic exhibit to showcase the history of the nation. But how much these priceless artifacts are appreciated forms the subject of inquiry as Netu Elaborate takes us through the world of arts. Experts say to build literacy skills in children, take them on artistic adventure, read the works of art to them, and then they'll be able to analyze what they see, develop their imaginations, critical thinking and powers of observation, hence the need to preserve the museum. The museum curator says the school curriculum has social studies as a subject which helps children to learn about Nigerian culture through arts.
The Lagos State government, they have what you call social studies, and part of it is that they must visit the museum to know their heritage. So it inspires them to want to know more and to read more about the objects. Like I said also, that when they come for visits, guided tours here in the museum, after the visits we have what we call see, touch and feel, and we give them these objects to feel, not the originals. We have replicas where they feel, look at it, you know, inside out to see, and then this brings about, you know, interest, wanting to know more. How were these objects crafted? You know, that's what they do. And you see them reading, looking for that, asking questions on that.
The human mind can be broadened and inspired to create reading-related skills through learning about the artist, people, places, and period depicted in the artwork.
It makes you to think, because the artist that made it is no longer around. Some are dead, some are alive, but you cannot reach to them. So you tend to want to go into the mind of the artist to say, what was this man thinking? What was his perception? How did he view this? How did he create these things? And what they do is that you go in and say, maybe this was the thought of the man. This is what he wanted to project, because the man is not there to explain. So that motivates you to want to know more about the object or the artifacts.
Meanwhile, comparing one form of art to another helps in appreciating the technique or tools the artists use in creating their works. The star attractions are the brasses from Benin City. Traditional symbols of power contains carved ivory and the royal host of crowns. A less fortunate symbol of power is the bullet-riddled car in which Murtala Muhammad was assassinated in 1976. After some inquiries, Nigerians were willing to add their view on the act of preserving history.
The car that you are looking at, it is the car that our former head of state, that is General Murtala Rahman Muhammad, he was assassinated on the 13th February 1976. And the whole Nigeria, they know the value of that president. You look at his contribution to Nigeria government was very enormous, which the whole Nigeria take as a model.
People, when we talk about people coming into the museum, they do not appreciate art because they see it as something fetish, something that is associated with juju, you know, and I see this because they are not aware of what it is.
We have the foreigners who come as expatriates. We also have the students from the nursery, secondary school, and university level. But at the moment, we have more of the student level coming in because we have been able to partner with the Lagos State government in terms of adding arts into their curriculum program.
Lending credence to the fact that history forms a vital part of human existence, historians are of the fact that every citizen owes it as a duty to have knowledge of its past readily available in the National Museum. Behind me is the car of which the late General Murtala Muhammad was assassinated in 1976 and is being kept as a form of history for this generation and generations to come. Netui Lafbare, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We'll take another break now, return with more stories. Just stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back in business. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo states that until there is stability in the power sector, electricity tariffs cannot remain at the levels they are currently in. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, the Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari as the special guest of honor, says the only way is to ensure the Nigerians are paying and compensating the value chain from generation down to distribution. In a similar vein, the Vice President also made it clear at the meeting that a review of the CBN restrictions on foreign currency is not imminent. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says October 31 remains the deadline for bank customers to obtain their bank verification numbers. Dipo Fatokun, the Director, Banking and Payment System Department of CBN, reaffirmed this while speaking to journalists in Abuja. Fatokun said at the deadline, bank customers who have not enrolled for BVN would not be able to access their accounts. The BVN is a unique identity number that can be verified across the Nigerian banking industry. It was inaugurated in February 2014 with the aim of protecting customers' accounts from unauthorized access to reduce the incidence of theft and exposure to fraud. On the foreign scene, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the police to prevent government ministers and Knesset members from entering the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. An official disclosed that the Prime Minister gave this directive during the security consultation last week, but yet to formally inform the cabinet ministers of his directive. Clashes have rocked the Jerusalem sites in recent weeks amid a surge in tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. The Al-Aqsa compound is the third holiest site in Islam. It is located in East Jerusalem, which Israel annexed in 1967 in a move never recognized by the international community as part of its occupation at the West Bank. The White House has expressed deep concern about the escalating violence in the occupied West Bank and Jerusalem and urged Israelis and Palestinians to restore calm. Russia's fired cruise missiles at targets in Syria in a major display of military power. Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu disclosed that the attacks were carried out with warships in the Caspian Sea. Russia says it is targeting the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL group, but at least some of its airstrikes have reportedly hit Western-backed armed groups. This is the first news of Russia using its navy in its Syria campaign since it began building up its military forces in Syria. The missiles flew nearly 1,500 kilometers over Iran and Iraq and struck Raqqa and Aleppo provinces in Syria's north and Idlib province in the northwest. We now move on to sports. Nigeria's goalkeeper Vincent Inyama says he's no longer a player with the Nigeria's senior football team, the Super Eagles. Inyama, who took to his Instagram page, Vini2908, said he has served Nigeria his best while in the pitch and now he's retired from active play with Eagles to focus on his club career. It will be recalled that the former Eagles captain was recently stripped of title by the Eagles coach Sandow-Lise and handed over to CSKA Moscow forward Ahmed Musa following an altercation between them. Although Lise has said the rift between him and the Inyama has been sworn, he insisted that his decision to strip the former Eagles captain was based on discipline. Mixed reactions have continued to trail the resignation of Nigeria's goalkeeper Vincent Inyama, who resigned after the altercation he had with the coach Sandow-Lise. While some Nigerians welcome the idea of damping the party, others have the view that the decision is quite drastic.
Because Yama just finished burying her mom, so you could have taken time a little to decide like that. So, but you don't even give him a chance to talk.
If Yama, as a very capable goalkeeper we have presently without a substitution, if he has the interest of the country in mind, I do not think he should have resigned this time around. We let us actually call him to come and explain and know so that if we can call him back and sort out things, it will be okay for us, for Nigeria sport. Let us keep the sport alive in Nigeria.
As far as the Super Eagles will continue even without Enyama. So if he is resigning from the international football now, so be it. Super Eagles still remain Super Eagles.
No, even though he has issue with the coach, it can be settled amicably rather than taking the captain back from him and giving it to someone else. It's as if, according to him, being striped naked.
Enyama is the oldest team. He's the oldest member of that team. So you making another person captain of the team over Enyama for one reason or the other, to me, is not palatable.
It's a free world. It's a job. You can come in and go out at any time. If you want to serve your fatherland, they said no, then you can go home and rest. It's not a do or die stuff. And we have a lot of players around that can do the same thing that Enyama can do. So there's no real big deal about it.
Super Eagles coach Sander Lise has explained why he opted for a new captain for the team, a decision that ignited a serious quarrel between the coach and his goalkeeper on Tuesday in Belgium, where the Nigerian team are camping. Olise said he chose Ahmed Musa as the new captain. Olise emphasized that Vincent Enyama said many times that he was retiring from the Super Eagles. The organizer of the Nigerian Sports Award has unveiled the top nominees for the 2015 edition just as voting began on Wednesday to determine the eventual winners of the various categories. The organizer, Admissible Incentives Limited, unveiled the nominees at a press conference in Lagos on Wednesday. Chairman of the award panel, Ike Disiguzo, explained that the top nominees emerged, having recorded the highest frequency of nominations by the members of the public for their outstanding performances in their respective sports. Isiguzo reiterated that an athlete is only eligible to win the Nigerian Sports Award if members of the public nominate such person during the nomination phase for the award. And finally, FIFA's president, Sepp Blatter, has been relieved of his duties as FIFA president after he was banned from all footballing activity for 90 days and replaced by CAF head Issa Hayatou. FIFA announced that Blatter, alongside presidential candidates Michel Platini and General Secretary Jerome Valcke, had been suspended for 90 days, following approval by the governing bodies at adjudicatory chamber of a recommendation made by the organization's ethics committee. Those sanctions can be extended by up to 45 days, which would effectively end Blatter's reign over world football, with a FIFA Congress where a replacement will be chosen, scheduled for February 26 next year. The investigation into Blatter's conduct relates allegations that he signed an unfavorable contract with the Caribbean Football Union in 2005, one that market experts claim handed over World Cup television rights for a fraction of the market value. And that's it on the news, but before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has reinstated his commitment on the improvement in national security. Also, in this program, the Senate is to adopt two modalities for the screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees. And finally, Super Eagles goalkeeper Vincent Enyama dumps national team. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Nina Nyama. Do have a lovely night rest.